In Matthew 25, from verse 14 to verse 30, there's a story of someone or a boss or a master that was going away. While he was going away, he gave his workers or servants, right? He had 3 servants. He gave each and every single one of them a talent. To one, he gave 5 talents. To another, he gave 2. To another, he gave 1. And he went away. He left them with those talents. Here are the 10 things I've learned about that story. The number one thing I've learned from that story, he says that he delivered to his servants talents, right? Which shows us that God have given each and every single one of us gift and talent. It doesn't matter how small that you might think your talent is, but God has given you something. God have given all of us something to use and to be useful in his kingdom. And the second thing says that he gave to each one of them according to their own ability. So God have given each and every single one of us according to our own ability. To one, he gave 5 because he had the ability to handle 5. To another one, he gave 2 because he had the ability to handle 2. To another one, he gave 1 because he had the ability to handle that 1 talent. So that's the same thing as also as a believer today. God have given each and every single one of us talent and gift according to our own ability. So whatever God have placed in your hand, because you are able to handle those things. See, sometimes we feel like our calling is too big. Sometimes we feel like the thing that God have called us is big than what we can handle. But the Bible says that he gave to each and every single one of them according to their own ability. So what God have placed in your hand, he has given it to you according to your own ability. So the third thing that I've learned from that story, right? He gave all of them talent, but he didn't say anything. He didn't tell them that to go and work. He didn't tell them what to do with their talent. 2 of them used their own initiative to go and trade with those talents. The other one didn't do anything with it. So this is the same thing as us, right? God have given us talent. Sometimes you could be waiting for God to tell you what to do, but God is not going to tell you what to do until you use your own initiative to use the thing that God have given you to now start working and developing the talents, the gift that God has placed inside of you. See, a lot of time believers, we feel stuck. We're not moving because we're just waiting for God to tell us what to do. But when God have already placed thing in your hand, God have already placed thing on the inside of you, the spirit of creativity already resting inside of you. So instead of you waiting for God to tell you what to do, use your own initiative to start using the thing that God have already placed in your hand. The 2 other people or 2 other servants, they use their own initiative to start trading with the talent that God has given them. So my question for you is, what is it that you are doing with the talents that God have placed in your hand? It's very interesting that the people who God gave the most were able to go and use the talent. The one person who only had 1 talent didn't do anything with it. He just went and buried the talent. So this is the one thing that I've noticed with the Lord, especially prophetic people, right? We are very prophetic, very gifted, but we are not moving with what God have given us. We just there waiting for God to tell us what to do. But here you can see in the story where the master just gave them talent and he was gone for a long time, didn't say anything to them, but 2 of them were able to make the most and to multiply the talent. The other one just kept the talent, didn't do anything with it. So it's very important for you to use your own initiative. Look at the thing that God has placed in your hand. What's in your hand? That was the question God asked Moses. What's in your hand? And Moses said staff. God told him on how to grab that staff. So my question for you is, what is in your hand? What can you do with what's in your hand? And then God will be able to reveal to you the next step in the next direction. The 4th lesson which I've learned is each and every single one of us will give an account on what we did with the talents that God gave us. One day you will stand before God. The same way they had to stand before the master to give an account on what they did with everything that he gave to them. The same way as well, as a believer, you will stand before the Lord and give an account on what you did with all the gift, the talents that God gave you. So it is important. This is your time while you're still alive to be able to use the talent and the gift. The Bible says that whatever we find ourselves doing, we have to do it with all of our might, because where we are going on the grave, there won't be no talent, there won't be no device, there won't be nothing for us to use. So make sure you use all the talent and gift that God have given you. Let's move on to the fifth lesson. See, to be faithful to God, it looks like you multiplying the things that he has given you. Because the servants that he gave 5 talents and the servants that he gave 2 talents, the master said to them, well done, good and faithful servants. He called them faithful because they multiplied while he kept them. To one servant he gave 5 talents. The servant brought 10. To the other servant he gave 2, and the servant brought 4. Why? Because they were able to multiply. If you can remember in the Garden of Eden, when God created Adam and Eve, he said to them, be fruitful and multiply. So that's the principle, that's the expectation God has on each and every single one of us, is to be fruitful and to multiply. For God to look at and say that you are faithful to him, you have to learn how to multiply the thing that he has given you. Faithfulness to God look like you multiplying what he has placed in your hand. So if God have given you one thing and you have not multiplied that, you are not faithful. So everything God gives us, we meant to multiply. Nothing meant to die in our hands. If you want to be faithful to God, we have to learn to multiply the thing that God has given to us. Lesson number 6 was, in order to multiply, you have to work hard. See, the 2 servants, the Bible says that they traded with the talent, which means they were able to work hard. Without hard work, you cannot multiply. See, work is a gift from God. Even the Bible says God himself, he worked for 6 days, and on the 7th day, he rested. So God was working, right? So it is important for us to work. As believers, we need to see our work as a form of worship to God. The 2 servants, they were working hard to multiply. For one of them to have 5, to go from 5 to another 5, he doubled whatever God gave him. You can see the level of hard work that he had to do in order to multiply, to have 10 talent. And obviously, the Bible doesn't say how long the master was gone for, but the Bible says he was gone for a very long time. So which means that all those years that the master was away, the servant was working hard, so he was able to multiply. So if he even add 1 extra, right, 6 or 7, I would have been like, yeah, he tried. But the fact that he was able to bring 5 more to double what the master gave him, you can see that he was a very diligent servant and he worked really hard. Even the other one, he was given 2 and then he multiplied, brought back another 2. Hard work was involved in this. So as believers, we have to be hardworking people. As Christians, we have to be the hardest working person in the room. Yes, there is favor, there is grace, but the grace of God meant to empower us to be the best in our field. The grace of God meant to empower us to be the best that we can possibly be in everything that we do, because God is expecting us to multiply the thing which he has given us. The 7th lesson that I've learned is regarding the worker with 1 talent. He made up excuses. He was making up excuses, right? He said, I knew you to be a hard man. Maybe he thought if he's going to say this, his master was going to be pleased with him. But the master was not pleased at all. He's thinking, you are just a lazy person. So as a believer, a lot of the time, we tend to make a lot of excuses, thinking that God's going to be okay with us. God's going to be pleased with us. He's not going to be pleased when we are being lazy, when we are making up excuses. So we need to stop making up excuses. Imagine this man had the least talent, but he made the most excuses. The other one with 5, he could have been the one making up excuses, like, master, you gave me 5 talent. This was too much for me to handle, but he did not make up excuse. The other one with 2 talent, he could have said, like, you gave me 2. This was too much for me, but he didn't say any of that. But that one who had 1 talent ended up being the one making up excuses. So let's not be like the 1 servant with 1 talent. Let's be like the other 2 servants, that it doesn't matter whether God have given you 1 assignment, 10 assignments, but to keep working and multiply and be faithful to what God has given you. Lesson number 8, we are still looking at the servant with 1 talent. Another thing he said, I was afraid, right? There's another excuse he made. I was afraid. See, fear will kill you. If you are afraid, if you are fearful, you are not going to achieve anything in life. You have to step out your comfort zone. Being fearful not going to achieve anything. God is not going to be pleasing with you if you are afraid to take risks. The Bible says he did not give us a spirit of fear, power, love, and sound mind. If you are living a life full of fear, God is not going to be pleased with you because he does not want you to be fearful. He wants you to be fearless. He wants you to just step out your comfort zone and do things. He said, I was afraid. And he decided to waste his talent. So because of fear, he wasted the talent that his master gave him. And you don't want to waste your talent because of fear. As a result of him being fearful, him making up excuses, the lesson 9 that I've learned is when we are not faithful, when we are not multiply the thing God is giving us, he will call us lazy servants. Imagine he was called lazy, wicked, and unprofitable servants. See, this is very scary for the God that we all know. He's a loving father, he's grace, he's merciful. But here, the master said to the servant, you are wicked, lazy, and unprofitable. Why did he say that? Not because he was living in sin, not because he denied Christ, but because he wasted his time, because he wasted his life, because he wasted the talent that God gave him, that the master gave him. You as well, you don't want to be called wicked, lazy, and unprofitable servants. So stop wasting time. Stop being fearful. Start using the thing God have given you, because this man was called wicked, lazy, and unprofitable. Why? Because he was given one talent, but he didn't do anything with it. So the one thing that God have placed in your hand, the one thing that God have given you, start doing something with it. Because before, God is looking at like, I gave you this according to your own ability. So if you are not able to do something with it, if you are not able to multiply, you are wicked, because you are lazy and because you are unprofitable. You don't want to be unprofitable to the King of Glory. You don't want to be unprofitable to the King of Kings. You don't want to be seen as lazy and wicked before your Father in heaven. So I want to encourage you to start using your talent, start using your gift. It does not matter how small it is. God is looking at you. God is looking how faithful you are to the little thing. Because if you are faithful with the little one, then he will give you more. Then he will be able to multiply and give you even greater things. The last lesson I've learned from this story, which says that, so if you are faithful with the small, more will be given unto you. But if you are not faithful, even what you have will be taken away from you. We've seen the example, the servant with one talent. What he had was taken away from him. Why? Because he was being lazy, unprofitable, and it was wicked. However, the other two, more was given unto them. Why? Because they were faithful and they multiply. When you are faithful with small, God will bless you with more. But if you are not faithful, if you're not taking care of the little that God have given you, don't expect God to bless you with more. So my encouragement to you is to multiply what God has given you, to start using the talents, the gift that God has placed inside of you. Use your own initiative to find out why you carry and how can you multiply that. Don't just wait for an angel to come and give you instruction. Don't just wait for God to speak to you, but start using the thing that God have given you. Thank you for watching. God bless. Make sure you comment, subscribe, and like.